Did that really happen?
I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713, 21, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying. Sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and flying. I get those goosebumps every time I'm around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that.
Get in.
Yeah. Never in doubt.
Nope.
Welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC. Sorry?
That's what you kept telling us, Daz.
Yes, yeah, never in doubt. We've been here before, down halftime. We will put it back. Hello, and welcome to the chatters. Welcome to anyone listening. Welcome to anyone watching back. Yes, we've got a lot to talk about, even more than usual. So expect a 5-hour show. But sorry, Chris. Boys, how are you, Chris, I'll go to you first. I was going to say Pete, but Chris, we'll go to you first. How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. Yeah, still tired, still feeling the effects. But now, yeah, what a weekend. Saw many faces we haven't seen before. So it was lovely to meet people who we haven't met before. Both people who were in the chat, and people who we've collaborated with but never met face to face. That was really nice. And yeah, I mean. Talk about match reaction. What an absolutely incredible match, and to be there was an absolute pleasure. And I forget who said it, but someone said, "Oh, it was the closest thing." Closest. What am I trying to say? It was the closest thing to the PSG game where we obviously, we won emphatically, and I know Pete was there. So to be there for the West Ham game was particularly special. Because the atmosphere was electric, and I must admit, when we were losing 3-1, I did not for 1 minute think that we were going to walk out of that stadium with 3 points. So yeah, it was brilliant to be there. But yeah, I'm all good, Daz. I'm all good. But Pete, how are you, mate?
Not too bad. Feeling good. Just had a Barney with Lawless on Potsy's channel. So yeah, feeling good right now. Definitely. I said. Nearly 2 months ago, I said March the 30th, we were coming for West Ham, and I made Lawless aware, and we stuck to our promise. So I am absolutely buzzing right now. Not going to lie, great weekend, great fun, great game to be at one of the great football matches of this Premier League season. There was no doubt about it that we experienced. And I said it to you boys. I was lucky enough to be at the PSG game. I said that is the closest to that PSG game that I've experienced for sure in terms of atmosphere. Certainly in that last 15, 20 minutes, it was absolutely electric. Yeah, an absolute pleasure to experience that also. Yeah, buzzing for me. Absolutely buzzing. Daz?
I'm good. Running and racing today to get things sorted and to get this one out is actually as well. I'll give it a mention now. I'll give it a mention at the end as well. So this is now live on YouTube as well. 12-minute kind of video on our weekend basically. It just kind of captures details of me traveling over and kind of from a vlog point of view, meeting up with the lads. Obviously the charity football game as well, and Everton in between, including shots with Lisa, and those coming down with trays of shots every 5 minutes. It seemed like, but shots fired. Yeah, let's get into this. Because this I watched back the game today as well, and there's so much in it, so much in it. So we're going to go through it, and because want to capture this as well, and give us get our opinions at different stages, because it wasn't always rosy in the camp. But let's go there. Right. This is the team news. This was the team that took to the pitch. Any surprises on the team, lads? I guess there was no trips. Bottom one we knew was going to be out. Lascelles in for a while at least. And there was a whole Bruno versus Paqueta show as well. But thoughts on the Newcastle team, or anything on the West Ham team as well? Kudus made an appearance, of course, and played well. But Pete, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, it was. I think the biggest surprise for me was the Trippier situation, because I think one of our good friends, Jordan Cronin, had mentioned that Trippier had arrived along with the players where they normally come in. So there was an expectation that he was going to be in the squad, and then all of a sudden he's not in the squad at all. I expect him to start. So that for me was the biggest surprise. Other than that, not really, because it was kind of as we predicted, as we kind of talked about, certainly in the stadium when we were having a chat alongside Keith as well. That's what we expected it to be. So yeah, alongside Trippier, that was the biggest surprise.
Any shocks for you, Chris, on the team news?
I wouldn't say shocks. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised to see Jacob Murphy start, and I wanted Jacob Murphy to start, but I did. I think a few other people as well said that they expected Miggy to start. So it was nice to see Jacob Murphy in that 11. Other than that, what Pete just said, yeah, I mean, obviously Trippier being out was a blow, particularly as we did a news last minute that he did arrive. But no, I kind of went into the game feeling reasonably confident. I mean, you know, it's still a good start in 11. Obviously, there's notable absentees, but we kind of knew that was going to be the case before the game started anyway. So yeah, no, I was reasonably happy when we were sat in the barracks and that news broke. Yeah, I was reasonably happy with the start 11.
All right, boys, let's get into it. Talk you through each of the different talking points. So in 2 minutes, a careful tackle on Gordon Pinnock. Gordon got ahead of him and he brought him down. He kind of blindsided him. Gordon is so rapid, and so his instinct as well. He's gone in a flash. He's absolutely unreal. Great to see him in real life on the pitch. I guess that's why we call him Flash as well. But yeah, we'll get the Pinnock. Isak steps up, puts the keeper the wrong way. Areola in the nets at this stage. 1-0 Newcastle. Thoughts on the first goal from Alexander Isak? Chris?
I think we said at the time, boys, very, very clever from Anthony Gordon. Very, very clever. He got ahead of the man. I think it was Kufal. Got ahead of him. Kufal lunges in. And it was a definite pen for me. I think it's one of those, isn't it, where, like, you know, he kind of gets himself in the way when the challenge is made. So that's why I'm saying it was very clever. And I'll tell you what, like, the penalty was emphatic. I think it actually went in off the post. It was just put right in the bottom corner. Areola went the wrong way. Brilliant penalty. So yeah, puts us 1-0 up. And we thought it was going to be smooth sailing from there, I think, didn't we? Was that like 6-7 minutes in? But yeah, fantastic penalty. Gordon really clever to win it.
2 minutes in.
Was it 2 minutes? I thought it was 6 minutes.
2 minutes in.
Bloody hell, that was early then, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh well, bloody hell, I didn't know it was 2 minutes. But yeah, clever, very, very clever from Gordon, and yeah, put away emphatically by Alexander Isak. Really, really fantastic penalty.
And you know, before we go to Pete, you're right. Everything is so confusing because when you're at the game, when you look back at the game, you go, "Yeah, I didn't even know that happened." You know, I remember being at the game, and spoiler alert, Gordon gets sent off. I was there. No one came on for Gordon. I didn't even see him getting sent off. Neither did the commentators, either on BT, by the way, when you watch it back for about a minute. But Pete, let's go to you and your thoughts on that Gordon's win the penalty and Isak putting it away.
Well, firstly, it was 10 minutes earlier than I anticipated, because I had on our little dabble our bet before the game. I think I went the earliest. I thought would score within 12 minutes.
Easy.
It was a little bit earlier than I anticipated, but I wasn't complaining. I have to say, this is one of a number of reasons of why I love Anthony Gordon. This is why a number of reasons that opposition fans absolutely hate Anthony Gordon is that he knows how to win a free kick or a penalty, and he does it superbly well. He looked, I have to say, in the build up to even that, within the first couple of minutes, he looked electric. And I think we talked about it. Him coming back out after the internationals, it was really going to elevate him. A lot of people thought, we don't need him to go to England and all the rest of it. We did, because him going and playing with those quality players he's going to come back feeling like 10 feet tall. And he started that way. And he was just running at Soufal. And Soufal didn't have a clue what to do with him. And he's just got his body in front of the ball and his legs in front of the ball. And I think it was Soufal that brought him down. He's just gone gung-ho in on that challenge. And it was, as soon as the contact's made, like the ref, as bad as the ref is, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, we had no choice but to point to the spot. It was a great piece of play from Anthony Gordon. And of course, the ice cold killer, never in doubt. Never in doubt.
Never in doubt. I see there's a few people reminding people to smash that like button. Thanks for reminding us. Smash that like button. Help us push this video up on the system, and so more people can find us and more people can see it, and find what you find as well. All right, let's move on. Temas Lascelles injury. He goes down, clutching his knee. He tries to the stretcher was brought on, but he didn't get on the stretcher. He tries it out for another minute, but it became obvious that there was no way he was going to be able to play on. ACL injury is what was said the next day. I was saying to you guys when you sent to Peter that this is too early for an April Fool's joke, but not funny. All these injuries, but obviously lost Lascelles. We wish him the best of luck in his recovery. So another one for the list. 60 minutes, because it took a while for that to all play out. Kraft come on for themselves. So we switched it up then to Kraft going right back, Shar, Byrne, and Tino. Tino moved to left back. The 20 minutes, Paqueta, lovely ball, in fairness, Paqueta onto Antonio, goal. He just kind of sent it over the top. Dubs was nowhere. Kraft played Antonio onside. Just wasn't working out. That shuffle didn't settle. Didn't get much time to settle either. But Anthony, you guys want to say on Antonio's goal? Pete, we'll go to you first.
Great finish from Mikel Antonio. I thought he was sensational in his performance against Newcastle. And I said that to Lawless previously. I actually thought Mikel Antonio played really, really well. And he looks back to his best. But in that moment, I actually thought the defence looked quite secure with Lascelles in the team and Shaw together. I thought they were really, really secure. And Lascelles was going off really through the back line. The back line weren't in sync. And it just caught us off guard. I can't remember who played the ball over the top. It was a really, really good ball over the top. Who else? Typical, eh? And you're bigging him up on the day as well, Das, to be fair. He was excellent. Great ball over the top. Mikel Antonio in. Shaw and Byrne weren't going to catch him, and it was a really nice finish. A really well taken goal. And I have to say, we were up at that point. We were playing well. We were the better team, even with the changes. It just really came out of nothing, and it almost kind of shell shocked us a little bit, because we did look like the more comfortable team, the more dominant team. But it got their tails up, and their confidence was high and flying at that point. But really, really good finish.
How was Antonio's goal for you, Chris?
It was disappointing. I think it was Emil Kraft who played him onside. For me, there was a couple of errors really. Emil Kraft playing him on. That was particularly disappointing. And then also, I felt Dubravka was slow off his line, if I'm honest. But that's probably not the first time I've said that this season, and probably won't be the last either. In fact, it won't be the last this show. So yeah, I'm gonna say it again in a bit, but yeah, disappointing. But no, I totally agree with Pete. I thought Mikel Antonio played really well, and in fairness, he took his goal well. It's Martin Dubravka to make it nice and easy for them, bearing in mind. But no, he took the goal well. But yeah, it was disappointing. It was a bit of a shell shock, wasn't it? Because I think we went 1-0 up. We were all elated, and I think we all thought, "Oh God, we've got a game in our hands now." So yeah, disappointing. But yeah, that's where we were at 1-1.
That's where we were. Right, moving on. 35 minutes. Gordon header wide. He had a great chance with that header. Should have hit the target, but didn't. 49 minutes because of so much injury time for all the stoppages and injuries. So, but 49 minutes. Bruno hits top bins or hit the crossbar really, and just denies him a goal. That would have been some goal if it went in, and it would have really boosted us. But it wasn't to be unlucky. 53 minutes. Foul by Shar, right? He did hold back Kudus. Shar goes down, holding his face, his head, and he did get a slap in the face when you look back at it as well. We all thought, I turned to you, Chris, and I said because it was a running joke, I always sent an emoji when Shar goes down in our chat. I look up again and I see West Ham have a free kick. I didn't realize they had a free kick at their time, but there was a quick free kick. He was allowed to take the free kick, even though our player was down holding his head. Great referee in there. So Paqueta sees Bowen, slots it through to him. He cuts it back, and Kudus puts it in the goal. Yeah. For a head injury, what was the ref at there? Face injury, whatever you want to call it yourself. I know Shar does like to do a bit of acting as well, but Pete, I'll go to you again first for that one. 2-1 West Ham.
I was fucking raging, absolutely fucking raging at that. Absolutely disgraceful for a number of reasons. Okay. Right, let me just compose myself because I'm getting angry now. We won the game. I'm still angry.
I watched it back and I was getting angry watching it back again.
Honestly, I'm angry for a number of reasons. It really, really pissed me off, and the reason being is because, fair enough, it was a free kick on Kudus. Yeah, Shaw kind of tugs him. Fair enough, but he gets hit in the face and he goes down. The referee's looking right at him. He knows he's down. And he knows he's holding his face. Right. Is he really injured? Is it a serious head injury? No, it isn't. Okay, but I'll get back to that in a second. The ref almost shocks himself into kind of existence again because the ball gets played, and he just goes, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to go run and chase after the ball," and he just goes running after the ball. Obviously, the player, even the West Ham players, had stopped, and fair play to West Ham, they took advantage of it. But Jesus Christ, the goalkeeping! Oh my God! I have a saying for goalkeepers that just can't get a solid hand on it, and the saying is Timmy chocolate wrists, and that is Martin Dubravka. Dubravka has Timmy chocolate wrists, right? He does not know how to have a stronger hold palm on the ball to keep it out. He has no idea, right? And that was probably one of the worst struck balls that Mohamed Kudus will hit all season, and he still managed to score. So they're the two things that frustrate me. Now, rewinding back, the reason why the initial Shaw holding his face and being down and the ref playing on annoyed me is because in that first half, on 3 separate occasions, Lucas Paqueta goes down holding his head for a similar incident on all 3 occasions, and on all 3 of those occasions, the ref is constantly trying to look to stop the game to get him attention. So if he's going to do that for Lucas Paqueta, he needs to then do the same for Fabian Schär, who he's 5 yards away from, can see that there was contact on the face, and he's on the floor holding his head, not looking like he's moving or in any way, shape or form looking to get up at any point at that time. And he's holding his head. And he continues to hold his head up until way after the goal's even scored. So he needs to be looked at some point. There has to be consistency. If you're going to do it 3 times for one player, you have to then do it for the other. And this is why we get so frustrated about referees, is that they don't stay consistent. They make one rule for one and one rule for another. And it shouldn't be that way. And then they moan that fans and people outside of the officials get angry and frustrated with them. It's because they don't stick to what they should be doing. Okay? I'm not saying it's a free kick to Shaw. I'm not saying people should be coming on to attend to him, but there should be at least a blow the whistle, hold on, let me just check he's okay, and have that conversation, and then start the free kick from there. That's what should have happened. And it didn't, and it whammed me up. Secondly, Martin Dubravka, I'm not going to keep saying it because I've been saying it for months now, ever since he come into the team. He's just not good enough. He isn't good enough for Newcastle United, right? And that goal proved it because, again, Nick Pope's in goal, it gets saved. They don't go in 2-1 up at halftime. It's as simple as that. It's awful goalkeeping. It just is.
Chris, your take on the West
Yeah, do you know what? It reminded me, I think it was of Anfield a few seasons back when Shaw went down with an injury, and I think he was keeping Jota on side when Liverpool scored. Again, I think Mike Dean was the referee. And, you know, we all know the rules. When it comes to a head injury, the game should be stopped, or, you know, the players should be given, you know, attention. Now, I know Peter Moyle in the chat says, and I do see where he's coming from. Peter Moyle in the chat says, Shaw was fine. I'm sick of teams using the head injury thing to stop games. The ref was 5 yards away. And, you know, Peter, I think I agree with you when I say that I don't think the injury was serious to Shaw, but it was a head injury, and the referee should not have let play continue. And I think when he did, and he left, you know, he allowed West Ham to take that free kick and carry on when Shaw is on the floor holding his head. It's just, I just don't think it should have happened. Moving swiftly on to Dubravka. I won't go into it too much because Pete has detailed it exactly how I would have said it. Maybe not the Tibby chocolate wrists, but I do like that. But yeah, Dubravka has to do better. He has to do better. He doesn't get a strong hand to it, and yeah, you know, he doesn't hit it that well. But again, unfortunately, I think we're going to be talking about this a lot. I think we're going to talk about it again, actually, when it comes to the next goal, but also for the rest of the season. In that Dubravka, I think Dubravka overall, I think he's a decent shot stopper. If you hit it at him, I think he's a decent shot stopper. I'm not taking that away from him. But there's certain elements of his game that he needs to improve, and with him being the age that he is he going to improve that vastly? I'm not so sure. I don't know. Maybe he's not the same keeper he was many moons ago when Rafa Benitez brought him in. I'm not sure, but he's not good enough at this level, unfortunately, for us, especially for where we want to be, which is, you know, in and amongst the top 6. He's not good enough to play for us, unfortunately. So, yeah, disappointing. And obviously at 2-1, you know, you don't want to see that, do you? And it was a tough one to take because it happened just before half time. So it was painful because we were then going in 2-1 down on the break. So yeah, not good. And I think we were all speechless at half time, weren't we? Because the whistle went and loads of people were going inside, you know, to go and get drinks and stuff. And we were just stood there, just like in shock that we were losing this game 2-1.
Well, that's where I'm going next, Chris, because we were silenced. The ref was booed off the pitch as well. We actually went as far as we didn't actually talk to each other for the 15 minutes. We're that shocked about it. Like I said, one thing to Keith Roll that I think we should bring on Barnes. I was talking about taking Murphy off and bringing on Barnes, and Pete said just as the game kicked off, we need to score in the first 10 minutes. That's the only things that were said at halftime. We're that much in shock, and you know us, we're all gabbing. But that's how bad it was.
I shook my head. I almost felt myself during that half time. I just, every so often, I'd just be shaking my head. Like, I just couldn't believe that we were 2-1 down, because we haven't even kind of mentioned it. that actually, other than that goal before half time, we were the better team still.
Yeah,
We were the one that was looking like we were going to get the next goal, and it came just like that. And that's what pissed me off more than anything, that they were going in having the fact, knowing that we were the better team up until that point. Sorry, Dad.
No. Well, that's exactly it, Pete. Into the second half then, there's a keeper change. Areola comes off, Fabianski comes on. Fabianski was kind of getting himself ready to come on before half-time, so they knew that change was coming. But 2 minutes into the second half, it got worse. And a Bowen goal, 3-1. It all came from a Newcastle corner and a West Ham on the counter-attack. They had 2 players free, and Gordon sprinting as fast as he could to try and get back. No centre backs anywhere near, I don't believe, in our half of the pitch at that stage. But I know they were going up for the corner to try and get an equaliser, and Dubravka, forget about it. But that took us 3-1 up. Someone beside me said, "That's it, game over." But I don't know who that was. Pete, we'll come to you. Maybe we'll come to you.
Oh,
that was the hint. Must be Keith Roll, was it?
I do love you, mate. I said that too. I turned to you straight away. I was like, game over. I really just thought it wasn't going to be our day. And I was dreading this Monday coming up because I thought Lawrence was going to have an absolute field day. But look, what did I think I said something to you. I might have been to you, Daz, or to you, Chris. I can't remember who I said it to. But as that corner came about for us, one thing I looked at, it was like I saw Sharon Byrne going into the box, and then Tino was coming up, Gordon was coming up. There was no one defending. There was no one on the recovery. Normally it's Longstaff, but he was up. And I think I can't remember what I said to you, but I said...
You said it to me, I remember. Yeah. You said it. And then Jacob Murphy was the only one who actually went back, wasn't he? Because everybody was forward. Everybody.
It was like everyone just clamoured into the box and no one really thought about what's going to happen on the counter. Like, what could potentially happen if they break away? And I think Tino, well, it was Tino because he was there in the end. Tino was the furthest man back out of them all. And you kind of like, okay, he's got some pace. He's a good defender, fair enough. But there was nobody else. Everyone else clambered forward. And so the corner goes in. It breaks down. Shaw clearly was never going to get there to Kudus and tries to clean him out. It doesn't work. And then there's a clear mistake. There's a clear mistake after that point because what happens is that Tino gets sucked over to Kudus, which leaves a gaping hole behind him, which then Bowen exploits. But actually, it just shows that there was a lack of communication there because Willock actually gets back to Kudus. But because Tino comes over, that next pass that ends up going into Bowen would have been caught out had Tino had just held his position, but he didn't. He gets sucked to the ball. If Willock goes to him and says, "He's my man," Tino goes back into the middle. That ball never gets to Bowen, and there's a high chance that they don't score from that. It's unlucky. I think I'm going to touch on something that Chris is going to touch on as well. I'm sorry. That shot should be saved. It should be saved. Martin Dubravka has had another shocker for me, and people might not agree with me on that. But the way he just falls to the ground, he doesn't even dive to the side to try and save it. He almost dives backwards, which just means he just gets to slot it home. Now, fair play to West Ham. The quarter's on the counter. Fair play. But that, for me, should be saved. It's not right in the corner. It's not into the side netting. It's into the back of the goal. And again, it highlights the point that the goalkeeper isn't good enough. It just isn't. So there's a few things that went wrong there. And at that point, a minute or two into the second half, I'm just going, oh my God. I'm actually thinking, like, what score could this be? Because I think I repeat time and time again, this team cannot defend. I just kept saying it. This team cannot defend. It cannot defend. And I was genuinely worried at that point. And that wasn't about our attacking ability. That was just about keeping the ball out of the net.
Chris, we'll go to you for West Ham's third.
Yeah, it was just really poor defending, wasn't it? We kind of just had this gung ho mentality. It was as if, you know, Eddie Howard said in the changing rooms, like, "Come on, boys, we've got to get a quick equaliser, turn it on its head." And it was like the players had lost their heads because there was just no. the players clearly weren't talking to each other. And to be fair, we saw signs of that when Lascelles went off. And we haven't touched on Eddie Howe's substitutions yet, but maybe we will at the end of the game. But, you know, the defence clearly didn't look settled. And I didn't like the fact that we brought Kraft on for Lascelles and then swapped it, well, the whole back four, it felt like anyway. Everyone's position changed. And the defence clearly, you know, they weren't communicating. They didn't look comfortable. And none more so than for that third goal. And again, Pete's right, you know, to touch on Dubravka, like, you know, you get taught from an early age as a goalkeeper. Not that I am a goalkeeper, but, you know, I've heard this, you know, being told many a time. If a player's running at you from distance, you come out a bit and you close the gap. You try and close the angle. Instead, he stands on his line and he's, you know, and then you think, okay, well, he's holding his ground. He doesn't want to get chipped, perhaps. I don't know. But you're ready to go. You're ready to dive either one of the ways. And there was a natural place for Bowen to put it, and it was to Dubravka's right. And when he goes down, he's so slow in going down for it. And yeah, it was just a really poor goal to concede. I don't want to go too heavy on Dubravka purely for the fact that, you know, Bowen has about 40 yards to run towards the goal. And you know, Anthony Gordon, fantastic running back, and Tino nearly got back as well, you know, even from that right wing position. But, you know, the defence were nowhere. And I think on Match of the Day, Gordon got a little bit of stick actually for not tracking Bowen's run, but fair play to him for at least trying to get back. You know, which shows, you know, the endeavour and the fact that he does care and he did try to get back. But yeah, not a good goal for us to concede at all. And there was quite a few players at fault for it. But yeah, at 3-1, when Pete said them dreaded words, I was thinking to myself, oh God, we've lost the shouty game. We're going to lose the bloody West Ham game. We were
stuck together for another 24 hours. What are we going to do?
Yeah, what are we going to do? Yeah.
But if we are going to talk about the subs later on, I think someone should bring in Liam Tripod Kennedy to talk about the subs, because that's Liam's specialist sub there. But let's go to move on and get then West Ham fans with the Olays. In fairness, you can't blame them for every pass that was made, and with the stand up if you're 3-1 up, sit down if you're 3-1 down. That was just making it all the worse for us there. But we move on. 53 minutes, it still gets worse because Tino goes down with a kind of Paqueta hits the ball, hits off his ankle, kind of twists his ankle, and he had to come off. On comes subs. Miggy comes on for Tino. Anderson comes on for Willock. Hall comes on for Kraft. Hall, who came on for a sub originally, Kraft, who came on as a sub originally, and he went straight down the tunnel after that. So 62 minutes. Isak had a chance, a missed kick which he should have hit the target with. Longstaff had on 64 minutes had a shot that went closer to the corner flag than the goal. It was absolutely desperate. I was absolutely raging then at that stage. Next, Char was kind of went down holding his hamstring. I know Pete, you had made a comment there about international football and Char.
Yeah, I just think for me, I think with the fact that you've been saying it for over a year now about Shaw always picks up an injury or a knock of some form in every game he plays for Newcastle United. He is a walking wounded, and fair play to him. He always gets himself back up and puts his shirt on and comes out and does the job for the team. I love that. But you know, he's 32, nearly 33 now. Maybe he needs to sort of look after the prolonging of his playing career. I think you might have mentioned Daz or Chris, I can't remember who, that he isn't guaranteed choice at Switzerland anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
And so on the back of that, I just think, if that's the case, and I know it must be hard to come away from international football, especially if you're still being considered for them. But long-term future, will this mean? And the reason why I say this is because there were effectively like a couple of friendlies that they were playing over the course of the international break. Would that have been better served with Shaw being with the team in Dubai, getting a little bit of rest time, which apparently is what they got. They got some rest time, did a bit of training. He gets to kind of refresh, revamp, and to be able to go again. And go again at the level that we know he can play at. Because I don't think he played well against West Ham. I just don't think he did. I just think maybe that's just a consideration for him moving forward. Whether that happens or not is another thing, but I don't know. I do think that it's something that needs to be considered, certainly after this summer.
Moving on, because 30 minutes after coming on, Miggy goes down and has to be subbed. And Barnes comes on. Barnes, who will later turn out to be the saviour. But 67 minutes, West Ham bring on their saviour in Calvin Phillips. The 12 million loan man, and off comes Antonio, who was having a good game. He should never have made that change. But then 71 minutes, Gordon was holding his hamstring as well. He still played on. He was still sprinting everywhere, so it wasn't to worry. But it just begs the question, what are they doing in training? All these injuries all clocking up. 72 minutes, Barnes has a chance after Gordon ball. Barnes stretched to try and get it, but just missed it. 73 minutes. Then there is the Phillips challenging Gordon. Phillips is trying to clear it, and again, blindsided. Gordon swoops in, gets his foot in the way, gets the penalty. Went to VAR, penalty given. Up steps Alexander Isak, sends the new keeper Fabianski the wrong way, so that made it 3-2. And Newcastle are on a bit of a comeback run here at this stage. But thoughts on the penalty, lads, and the goal for Isak on that one? Chris, we'll go to you first.
I'll start with the penalty itself. Just another incredibly well taken penalty. Like, he's just so good at penalties, Alexander Isak. As you say, that sends Fabianski the wrong way. Another really well taken penalty. It's funny because I don't know about you boys, but when it went to VAR, because it was a bit of a melee in the box, I didn't actually see what had happened. And I think it flashed up on the screen, didn't it? And said, they're checking for the penalty. And I have since watched it back, and it's one of them funny ones, isn't it? Because again, like, you can see from the opposition point of view in the fact that Phillips has gone to clear it, and then it's, I think it was Gordon, wasn't it? It was Gordon, because Gordon was on the floor. Gordon's been canny or clever, if you like, and he's got himself in there and then Phillips, because he swung his leg and hit Gordon, that's where the penalties come from. As a West Ham fan, it's probably very frustrating, because it is one of those unfortunate ones where the player's just swung his leg to kick the ball as hard as he can, and the Newcastle players then got himself in between. A little bit like the first half one, but probably even more unlucky in the sense that Kufal knew Gordon was going to get there, whereas with this one, I don't think Phillips even saw Gordon. So I can see why, West Ham fans might feel a bit aggrieved by it, but then at the same time, you've got to kind of be aware of what's around you, haven't you? And, really, when you're looking at it in slow motion, particularly, you can see why the penalty was given. But yeah, it's funny because when that goal went in, I think we all had belief then, even though it was 3-2. There was a little bit of belief because we knew that there was going to be a fair bit of added time, and there was. So yeah, when it went 3-2, I think it just galvanized everyone a little bit, and the stadium really, uplifted. It was funny though, because when the penalty was taken, compared to the first penalty, everyone, as soon as the penalty was given, everyone was like stood there going, come on. When this penalty was being taken, it was kind of like, oh, hope we score. But there wasn't that same urgency, because it did kind of feel like there was still a hell of a mountain to climb, because we'd still need another goal to equalise or two to win it. But no, fantastic, and that really set us on the way then.
I don't know. I thought that could be the driving force to try and get us back into it, right? But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. There was that doubt in your head that it's a long way to go to come back from it. Then,
Yeah.
But Pete, do you feel sorry for the opposition with that penalty being given?
Yeah, I've just had a 35-minute Barney with Dan Lawless about this. Yeah, it was very, very heated, should I say. A few that are in the chat now were in the chat then. So, yeah, I can completely understand why, but it's still a penalty. It's still a penalty.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Again, excellent play by Anthony Gordon. He knows what he's doing. He plays it very, very well. It is still a foul. Anywhere on the pitch, when that happens, it is a foul. So I can understand the frustrations. And if we were on the receiving end of that, I would be frustrated, but I would understand why it was a penalty. And for some reason, Lourdes didn't get that. But anyway, I thought it was great work rate and endeavour from Anthony Gordon not to give that up. There was a bit of a melee in the box, as you mentioned, Chris, and you were just hoping it fell to one of us. But Anthony Gordon's just trying to get his body in front of the ball to stop the clearance, which is what Phillips is intending to do. He's intending just to get the ball out. But he as a player is trying to get there in front of him to stop that block. And that's right. That's the right thing to do. So for me, I thought it was great play by Anthony Gordon. Now, at that point, Phillips then absolutely just smashes through and kicks Anthony Gordon in the leg. Like, where on the pitch is that not a free kick? Does he intend to do it? Does he mean to do it? No. But it doesn't mean that it's not a free kick. It doesn't mean that it's not foul. So if you're going to give it in the middle of the pitch, which you would, you've got to give a penalty for that. And I think that's the one time that VAR and the referees have made the right decision. They've made the right decision on that. So for me, I've got no qualms on that at all. I think it was really well played by Anthony Gordon. You mentioned about the kind of lack of kind of reaction, Daz, with regards to the penalty, or more so like hope than anything else. I was more than confident. I didn't react because I am so confident with Alexander Isak in front of goal in terms of certainly taking penalties. His technique is flawless. I was always confident he was putting it away. So I wasn't worried about that. I was more kind of looking then to the reaction. Is it just a case of, like, we've got back into the game, we're going to kind of sit back and see how the game plays out, or are we going to go for the jugular? That I was looking for the reaction from the players more than that.
I think that's what Chris meant. That we were never doubting Isak. It was just that we were doubt. Perhaps there was a bit of doubt whether we could get all the way back to draw level even at that stage. But that kind of a doubt.
Well, the one thing I'll say is that even before that chance, we'd missed two absolute sitters, Longstaff and Isak. Both missed gilt-edged chances that should have been in the back of the net. So for me, we were creating enough, we were doing enough in the game. We just needed that opening, and the penalty allowed that to happen. And then it was a case of, right, can we go again? And we got enough time to go again to get that next opportunity. And I'm sure you will talk about that in just a second, mate.
Oh, don't you worry. That's coming. Stay tuned for the good bits. Right, so 79 minutes, Gordon picks up a yellow card. He pulled back Kudus. Kind of a bit of a professional foul there. 82 minutes, Isak ball through to Barnes, who slots it home through the legs of Fabianski. Barnes, who was on fire when he came on to put us 3-3. Thoughts on that goal? Chris, will we come to you? Barnes is first.
Barnes' first goal. I can't get the winner up yet. Hang on, I'm just trying to think of the first one. Yes. Yeah, this was the absolutely superb through ball from Alexander Isak, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I think Pete was speaking about it after the game, and I hadn't really taken that into account because I just saw Barnes running through on goal, and I'll talk about that first. So Barnes, is a very, very, very clever player, and I think we were talking to the Geordie journalists about it, weren't we? In the pub later on that evening. in that Barnes isn't your traditional winger that you would necessarily associate as being an Eddie Howe type player. You know, he's not a kind of player who will run at defenders and take them on and, you know, lightning speed. He's not that type of player. But this goal typifies Harvey Barnes for me in that he's very, very intelligent. So he's hanging on the last man. West Ham were playing quite a high line at the time, I believe. And he was hanging on the last man, and you could see he kind of ducked in to get a yard, and then he curved his run because he knew that ball was going to come through from Isak, because Isak's clever enough to do that, and it was a fantastic ball from Alexander Isak. And as soon as the ball got put through, perfect weight, and Harvey Barnes was onto it, you've got this confidence with Harvey Barnes in that in front of goal, he's a finisher. He knows how to finish a ball. He didn't lash at it. He didn't put loads of power on it. He just made sure that he placed it in exactly the right place. And yeah, left Fabianski floundering. Because again, the West Ham's high line didn't do Fabianski any favours. And in fairness to him, he did try and come out, I believe, you know, to try and, you know, close the gap. But Harvey Barnes just struck it really, really well. And yeah, we were all bouncing at that point, weren't we? Because we thought, wow, we've rescued a point. This is brilliant. And there was still potential. We knew there was still potential to go and win the game because, again, we were talking about those average minutes. We knew that we had the momentum. You're absolutely right, Daz. We had the momentum, and we knew that there was going to be a fair, decent whack of injury time added on, given all the, you know, substitutions and things happening in the second half. But yeah, a fantastic finish from Harvey Barnes, and really, really pleased for him because he's had a particularly difficult season this season. Pete's mentioned it a load of times that he's not a player who's kind of renowned for having injuries. But since he's come to Newcastle, his time's always been stunted by the fact that he plays 2 or 3 games, then he's injured. And he's been injured for long periods as well with a really weird toe injury. So I was particularly delighted for him, and it'll do his confidence the world of good. But yeah, fantastic goal, great through ball from Alexander Isak, and we're on our way to coming back from 3-1 down to 3-3.
Exactly. Pete, Barnes is first.
Oh God, the emotions when that went in. Oh my God. I had to take another kind of like look up to the screen to say, is this actually 3-3? And we actually equalised here, like unbelievable. Great work, superb work from Alexander Isak. I believe that's his first assist of the season, if I'm right in thinking.
Wow.
It's either his first or second, but I do think it's his first assist of the season. That 5 minutes before that goal, he was coming a lot deeper to receive the ball in those situations, which really threw off the centre backs because they were very much used to marking him, but he was picking up little pockets of space. That ball through, brilliant ball through, and it's a great run from Harvey Barnes. And this is what Harvey Barnes does. This is it. Been saying it right from when we signed him in the summer. This is what Harvey Barnes does. If you're expecting Harvey Barnes to do what Anthony Gordon does, you're talking about the wrong person. They are completely different types of players. Harvey Barnes plays on the last man. He plays on the last man, and he makes intelligent runs in and around the full-back and the centre-backs. And it's a great run across goal, across the line. Brilliant ball from Isak. I think it might be Andrew that talked about it further up on the chat. Adam, sorry, I apologise. The way to pass, he mentions, is just perfect, and it was absolutely perfect. And when Harvey Barnes is coming through at that point, I'm just thinking goal, because he is ruthless. He's a killer in front of goal, as is Isak, and straight through the legs. Brilliant stuff. And at that point, it's just sheer relief that we're in the game. You know, from 3-1 down, we could at least get a point. At this point, I'm thinking, wow, we've managed to salvage something here. I wasn't quite aware of what was going to come next. But no, it was a brilliant goal. Really well played. And yeah, as you mentioned, Chris, Harvey Barnes doesn't get injuries. This is a unique season for him, and he's talked about it in many of interviews recently. This has been the hardest season for him in his career. He has never had as many injuries, or for as long of injuries, that he's had at any point in his career. So he's found it difficult. We've found it difficult that we've been without him, but nobody can deny that when Harvey Barnes is playing, like, he always has a sniff at goal, and he's a goal scorer. As simple as that. Brilliant finish.
Okay, let's go there. 85 minutes. Barnes nearly gets in at the end of another ball in. 88 minutes. Gordon had a shot over, so we kept knocking on the door. But at 89 minutes, Gordon chases down a ball, a nothing ball. Really, he does really, really well to keep hold of possession and brings Barnes into play. Barnes makes the space with a wonder strike. Then he puts the ball in the back of the net. 4-3 Newcastle after being 3-1 down, limbs everywhere. St. James's Park absolutely erupts. Eddie Howe even joins in and goes mental. Like the rest of us, we went absolutely mental. It was absolutely amazing. Cue the singing. Everton. Take it away. Who wants to go first on that one?
Oh. Euphoric is the word I'm going to use. I remember just the goal going in, and I think we were just all grabbing each other, and I was just screaming, like looking up, just going like, "Oh my God!" Like, I cannot believe it. I could not believe it. Unbelievable. Not only had we won the game at that point, but how special was it to be in the stadium to watch a goal like that? Everything about that goal was brilliant. Daz, you just touched on it. A nothing ball. Anthony Gordon never gives anything up.
No.
Never, ever have I seen him give anything up. He chases, he runs for everything. Really good hold-up play. Plays it back to Barnes, but that little slip on Barnes is so special. Everyone's hammering Calvin Phillips for that, but I'm bigging up Harvey Barnes because he does that. That's not the first time he hasn't done that little piece of skill. He does that. He perfects that little little shift, and he just shapes his body to receive the ball on his favoured foot. And at that point, Phillips just stands still because he knows he's gone, like he's lost. But to then apply the finish, and if you watch it on the Newcastle website and you see the clips on socials, it literally hits the side netting just inside the post. You cannot hit the ball any better, and you cannot plant the ball any better than where it lands. It's the only place that beats Fabianski. It's the only place. It was an outstanding finish. But this is why you pay 38 million for Harvey Barnes, because this is what he does. He scores goals, but he scores fantastic goals. And that's the trademark piece from Harvey Barnes. And at that point, Chris.
Stand up if you're 4-3 up. 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 Yeah, I turned into a bit of a football hooligan for 5 seconds there when that happened, because it was absolutely mental. But Chris, were you standing up? I know you were.
I was standing up when we were 4-3 up. Yeah, absolutely. For anyone who missed it, I'm sure the majority of you saw it when we were 3-1 down. The West Ham fans were singing "Sit down if you're 3-1 down," and obviously that hurt at the time because, particularly for us lads as well, we don't get to go to the match all that often. And to be 1-0 up and so elated, and then all of a sudden be 3-1 down, when, as Pete rightly said, we were actually playing, all right, and we were probably on top out of the two teams. So to find ourselves 3-1 down and picking up all these injuries left, right, and centre, felt like we were getting a new injury every 5 minutes. It was really, really upsetting. So to be able to sing that back was particularly enjoyable. But yeah, the goal, mate, the touch. Probably the touch of the match for me. It was the way he just flicks it round the player onto his right foot. Was something special, and it sums up Harvey Barnes when he's in front of goal and when he can get a shot off. That's what we know he can do. And Pete kept saying it. I think he was saying it during the celebrations. That's what you pay 38 million for. That's why you pay the money, because do you know what? As soon as it left his foot, I knew it was in, and I just knew it was in, because he gained himself that yard or two. I didn't know it was Calvin Phillips he'd done it against, and people may criticize Calvin Phillips, but it's a clever move, and the way he just puts it in that bottom corner, and as we've already said, it hits like the side net, and it's just a brilliant piece of play, and it was a fantastic finish, and it was unbelievable to go 4-3 up, given that 25-30 minutes before we were all down in the dumps thinking, oh, here we go, we're gonna end up leaving the stadium here with another defeat, and it just goes to show, doesn't it, how big that turn of 3 points can be, the swing in the Premier League table. Obviously we've seen Man United draw, so they've dropped 2 points this weekend. We've obviously beaten West Ham, who were up there with us. Brighton got beat by Liverpool. So the results have all kind of fell pretty nicely for us this weekend. And in that race, really in that race for top six, I think we can rule out top five now, given that Villa and Tottenham both won. But certainly top six, it's still on. So it was a fantastic finish from Harvey Barnes, and again, to reiterate what I said before, I'm made up for him, because that's going to give him the world of confidence. And we know, sorry to spoil this, Daz, but we know that Anthony Gordon's going to be missing tomorrow night. And Daz, I'm sure we're going to talk about that in a moment, but it's fantastic for Harvey Barnes, and he's going to go into that game tomorrow full of confidence. And I, for one, can't wait to see him play, because I think I fancy him to cause Jordan Pickford some problems tomorrow night.
Yes, you were going there, Chris. I was wondering why Gordon was walking off the pitch and no one was coming on. But yeah, he got sent off. He got sent off for kicking the ball away, and it was didn't need to do it. I know he's trying to slow them down and stuff, but it was a bit petty as well. I know that's the rules, so it's fair. If someone else did it, it'd be the same things. But he got sent off. We also had another chance. Bruno was nearly in again on the 94th minute, and West Ham had a bit of a chance towards the end as well. Kind of chested it. God, if they'd scored there, that would have been mental as well.
Do you know? Just to add in though, Gaz, to that Gordon one. Yeah. It was funny because I watched it back again today, because we seen Gordon going off, and we were thinking, oh, who's he bringing on? And obviously, that wasn't the case. It was Gordon being sent off. It still feels a bit harsh to me, I don't, and for any Everton fans there, Richo, I know you're in the chat. He's not done that on purpose. And when I watched it back, some people have asked me since, do you think he did it on purpose because he didn't want to play against Everton? And I don't believe that's the case. When he plays it back, he's almost, he's not kicking it away, but he's being clever, but maybe a bit too clever for his own good, because he's not actually, the way you see players boot the ball away on purpose because they want to waste time. Yeah. He just gives it to the player further away. And then obviously that I forget who the defender was. It might have been Kurt Zouma. Kurt Zouma goes running up to the referee and going, he's kicked the ball away. But he wasn't. He was just kicking the ball to a player further away. And it was just it was stupid. But I can't really blame him though either at the same time, because at that moment we were all panicking, weren't we? Because it was just just keep the ball away from our goal kind of thing, and anything just to kind of waste that little bit of time. And Daz, I don't know if you're going to touch on it, but there was a chance near the end as well, wasn't there? You may have been coming to that anyway for West Ham.
The one I just mentioned.
Was that the one? No. That was the. Didn't you just mention the Bruno one?
Yeah, but it was. I just kind of brushed over it. Yeah, West Ham had a chance at the end where it kind of was it Thomas Suchek kind of tried to chest it in. Yeah.
I watched it back. Yeah. Jeez, it was a lot closer than what I thought it was. From where we were sitting, it didn't look like that big of a chance. But when you watch the replay, it was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
And Dubravka's just sprawled in the air trying to get it, nowhere near it. That was heart and mouth moment.
We probably would have gone back to not talking to each other if that had gone in again.
Probably, yeah. We just got him then.
I went mad at Dubravka for that, and I apologize. People think I've got a Dubravka issue, but I have. He's not very good. He's just really not very good. But I'm sorry. The way he comes out, I'm expecting him to come and collect it. The way he rushes out, but the fact that ball whizzes past him,
it's just such bad judgment from the goalkeeper. And actually, I really didn't see this until you watch it back. All the Souček has to do is head it towards goal. He actually goes out of his way to try and chest it into the net. It was easier to head the ball. What he has to do is just guide it towards goal, head it down, and it's in. And actually, when you watch it back, even David Moyes is going mad on the touchline, and he turns around to his assistants. He's going, why did he not head the ball? But I'm sorry, if you're going to come out like that and you're going to put your whole body on the line like Dubravka does, you've got to get something on it. You've got to. Luckily for us, it went the way in which we wanted it to, which it hit the side netting. We ended up taking the points. But again, it could be very, very different. It was really poor goalkeeping. It really, really was. So yeah, we were very lucky in that sense that Souček had a bit of a shocker there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was it. That brought it to 4-3. What a game! What a comeback! What a roller coaster as well, actually, of a game. But we were absolutely buzzing, and so was everyone else. And anyone listening to this was probably buzzing as well. So it's what a game to go to. Absolute pleasure to be at it, to be this. All of us sitting beside each other as well. Keith was buzzing as well. I remember he tweeted out this was the best game he was ever at in his life as well. I joined him with that. It was the best game I was ever at in my life as well. But absolutely class. Cue the team photo. Let's see Bruno pointing at Hall there, who had a major role when he came on, as did Elliot Anderson and as did Barnes, of course. But yeah, great to see those photos back again. Miss them.
Is Lascelles there? Lascelles isn't there, is it?
I didn't see him. No.
I've not looked at this properly. It's great to see Miggy there because Miggy apparently has got a knee injury, but he's right front and centre. And Tino's at the back next to Sean Longstaff. So obviously we know how serious Lascelles' injury was. So if he's not there, maybe that's why. Is that Joe Linton at the back?
I was going to say, is that Joe Linton under Eddie Howe?
No, there's a few ringers in there, rather like the Newcastle Fans TV team.
Yeah.
Liam loved that one. But yeah, no, great to see these back. Always love to see these pictures. But well, let's go to some things in the chat first, and then I might bring up the league table. Pete, maybe we'll go to you with the chat first.
There's been a super chat. Thank you, Alan Smith.
Alan. Thank you, mate.
Alan Smith.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Alan.
Great show, lads. Best Tune channel on YouTube. You should have a lot more subscribers than you have. And look, massive thanks for your support. Massive thanks for your £10 donation. And as we always say, with any sort of subscriber, any supporter of the channel, tell a friend to tell a friend, let people know about our channel. This is why we've been able to get up to, was it 8 point something now? We're at now. We're growing. We're continuing to grow, but it's about spreading the message and people letting other people know about what we do as a channel. We're just three lads that just love talking about Newcastle United, and we just have a great community like yourselves in there. So thank you for all your support on the back of that. But it doesn't stop there. We do have a couple of new members. We love our loaded ultras. We
We do.
And Nicholas Heads is a new member.
Welcome, Nicholas.
Thank you, Nicholas. Loaded ultras and a returning loaded ultra, Dunhill. Back in the game. Well done, Dunhill. Thank you for joining us, loaded ultra as well. If you want to be a loaded
way
ultra,
back to Dunhill.
Oh, way back. But if you want to be a loaded ultra, we've got the pick. I'm sure we'll put it up later on. You just have to click the blue button when you see it on the screen. You have to do it on laptop. You can't do it on mobile phone. But to be a loaded ultra, simple. Takes no more than 2 minutes. But there you go. Click that blue button. $1.99 a month. Prize draws coming every month as well, and more to be coming soon. And come and join the rest of the loaded ultras.
Yes, we should soon have a members draw again. But boys, yeah, let's get the table up and talk about where we're sitting now and how it is looking. So here it is. Yes, I think you can see that one. Maybe I'll zoom it up a small bit. There we are. So forget about the right at the top. It's all about down here. That's where the real action is. So in Newcastle now, after 29 games played, 9 to go, sit on 43 points. It's my first time looking at this table as well, by the way. West Ham, we're a point behind West Ham, and we have a game in hand. Brighton, who lost against Liverpool, we're a point ahead of them. Wolves lost as well, I think, and Chelsea drew. How did Fulham get on? Who are Fulham playing?
Fulham, they drew to Sheffield United away. Most teams have been hammering them there, but a really entertaining game, not as good as ours, but again, drop points.
Okay. So yeah, we're all eyes on trying to pass out Man United and finish ahead of them, like the target I set at the start of the season. But thoughts on the table, lads, as it looks, and into the Chris Hall derby tomorrow.
Go on, Chris fella.
Yeah, do you know what? It's not reading too badly. When you look, I mean, I didn't realize how close the likes of Fulham and Chelsea were to us actually. So there is all to play for, that. But yeah, we're 5 points off 6. Not the worst in the world, and given the amount of injuries we've had, given the fact that the form hasn't always been great, and we've got a realistic chance here, boys, of being able to pick up 2 back-to-back wins. It won't be easy, but as you rightly say, Daz, we've got the Chris Hall derby tomorrow, so we've got Everton at St James's Park, and we definitely owe them one from the 3-0 thrashing at Goodison. My blue mates are already trying to get their excuses in early. So that will be an interesting one, and then obviously we travel to Fulham on the weekend. So again, it's not gonna be easy. But even if we were to get 4 points, if we were to beat Everton tomorrow and then even get a point at Craven Cottage, it wouldn't be a bad return. And with us still having, after these 2 games, we've still got 7 games, so we've still got 21 points to play for. It's there's still a realistic chance of us getting that 6th spot. And I tell you what, if we finish the season 6th, given everything that's happened this season and all the unprecedented injuries, as I've mentioned before, 6 would be a hell of a finish for us, but it's still very, very achievable. I noticed Man United there on a goal difference of north, which is unusual. So they've scored 40 and conceded 40. But we've got a decent goal difference on ahead of our opponents there. We're on 12, and then the teams around us -5, -4. So there's an extra point in effect if we were to finish on the same points. That's a big help. But no, I quite fancy our chances for top 6. It's just whether or not we can plug these gaps, and there's going to be big performances needed from the likes of Lewis Hall, from Elliot Anderson, players who have been on the fringe of the squad or injured, who are now going to be coming in fresh. They've got to really come in and perform. And if we can do that and have a positive end to the season, there's no reason why we can't finish 6th.
Back to looking at the goal difference. It brings me back to the Rafa days. That's worth an extra point to keep us in the league.
Yeah.
Pete, your thoughts on where we're sitting?
At least we're looking at goal difference at the right end of the table.
Yeah.
But you're right, guys. We're looking at goal difference there, and actually, it tells its story. To be honest, before I kind of talk about where I think we are, we are joint third for the most goals scored in the Premier League this season. Joint third.
Look how many goals we've scored. It's incredible.
Joint third with Manchester City. That's no mean feat. 63 goals we've scored this season, equal with Manchester City. But we are bottom half of the table for goals conceded, 51. And that also tells its story for this season. And we are literally chalk and cheese, opposite ends of the spectrum for scored and conceded goals. And that's why we are not fighting for Champions League football this season. That's the only reason. We're scoring goals. We just can't keep them out. That's the key. And we were excellent. We were so good at it last season. It'll be interesting to see whether we've scored more at this stage this season than we did last season. I believe we may well have had scored more goals this season. With 9 games to go, I'm pretty sure that we've scored more goals now than we did at the same stage last season. So there was positives and negatives to it all. But if you look at the league table, with all the injuries, with everything that we've talked about, with all the negativity, the frustration, the lot, we are still sitting 8 points, 8th in the league, with a point away from West Ham, with the game in hand, with 2 winnable games coming up, home to Everton and away at Fulham at the weekend. I maybe don't share the same confidence as Chris, is that we could maybe get 6th. I think if we win the next 2 games, my confidence will shoot sky high. And I think we probably can pull Man United back because our fixtures are very favourable. However, I think 7th is definitely within the conversation, 100%. But we have to win on tomorrow, Tuesday. We have to win tomorrow. Everton, they're down in the doldrums. They lost away at Bournemouth. Yes, we've got injured players, but I still believe that the players available tomorrow will be good enough to win the game against Everton at home, and we need to win. That's the key. So for me, that's what we need to do. And then we take one game at a time. European football is the aim. This is it. Get European football of some form, way, shape, or form. If we finish 7th, it could well be Europa League. If we finish 8th, it could well be the Conference League. Either way, I'm happy because it's back-to-back European seasons. I've been saying it all since November, December, when we're all kind of falling flat with injuries and all the rest of it. Get European football. That is the aim. And the fact that we're still there and we're still within a fighting chance of it just shows us how far we've dropped, but also shows us how far we've got to grow again when we get these players back. When we get our fully fit squad available, we will be challenging at the top end of the table again. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, I agree. And I saw the conversation that was going on with Keith Patterson there. Was it yesterday or something like that? Yeah, but on our own chat. But yeah, I agree with that one, Pete. Eddie Howe was a relief man as well. You could see how much it meant getting back level and then just absolutely losing it like the rest of us. And congratulations to Eddie on the win.
Daz,
yes.
What do you think about it? What are your thoughts on the situation? Looking at where we are in the table, 8th, all the situation that's happening with the fixtures to come, and I don't know if I can just whack it up just really quickly, because these are our next few fixtures. We've got Everton, we know tomorrow, Fulham, we know. Then we've got Spurs the following weekend, early kickoff. Then we've got the midweek Palace. So it's all coming thick and fast with midweek games over the next few weeks. Palace and then Sheffield United and then Burnley. What are your thoughts of where we could potentially finish, mate?
I think we could finish 6th still, but it's, as you said, it's key to the next 2 games how they go. And I believe that the team, more or less, the team that ended the match against West Ham should be starting against Everton. You have to play Hall now. You're going to have. I would put Hall left back, Byrne, Schär, and whoever of Trippier and Tino is fit. Surely one of them has to be fit to play. That'll be our back 4. Then I drop Sean Longstaff. I thought Sean Longstaff was atrocious in that game. He does all the running, but he's not doing anything else. And I know he's playing with injections or whatever like that, but it's just not working. Play Elliot Anderson, who as you pointed out, Peter, he had a great game when he came on, Elliot Anderson. So that's who I'd play. And then you'd have Barnes, Gordon can't play, obviously. Murphy and Isak would be the 3 across the front. But then it's hope we don't pick up more injuries on top of that, because as we know, there's I don't know who's on the calendar for April, Claire, but we're due another injury again in the next game. So, but yeah, I think we can keep going and keep the momentum now. The Spurs one's going to be difficult for sure.
Just look at these fixtures there.
I know. I was just going to say, is it worth whizzing through and doing a rough estimate as to how many points we think we can get from them?
Yeah,
some very winnable games there.
Everton away, Everton at home, Fulham away. Okay, Spurs one's going to be difficult, but we're at home, so anything's possible.
Yeah.
Then you've got Palace away, Sheffield United at home, Burnley away, Brighton at home, who are inconsistent themselves. Obviously, we've got Man United that's not on there, but I think that's been changed till Wednesday evening, or whether it's been confirmed or not, I don't know.
And that's at St James's, Pete.
And the Man U one is at Old Trafford, but you've got Brighton's at St James's. You look at those fixtures. There are a hell of a lot. You take the Spurs and the Man United ones out of it because obviously you're playing against better quality sides. But Brighton are in and around is fair enough, but they're inconsistent. You look at those fixtures. There's a lot of winnable games there, lads.
Yeah. Oh, there is.
Definitely.
I mean, if we're talking, so just quickly whiz through it. So the Everton game tomorrow, we thinking 3 points there. We've got to beat Everton, haven't we?
Yeah,
There's no two ways about it. So if you say
for you
3
alone,
points,
Chris, we have to beat Everton.
Oh, mate, we have to, honestly. And do you know what? As Pete rightly said, they're there for the taking. They are there for the taking. They're all expecting to turn up at St James's tomorrow and not win. They're not going into that confident in any way, shape, or form. So we're saying 3 points for the game tomorrow. What are you saying about Fulham?
I say we win that one.
We've already been there and won this season. I think we're more than capable of winning. Fulham are having a decent season by their standards, no doubt about it. And I'm sure we'll speak to Emilio hopefully this week and preview it. But I'd still be confident going there to win, even with the tip players that we've got.
Should we say 6 then? I'm adding these up now. So we got 6. Yeah,
I'll go. So we're all optimistic, but yeah, go 6.
Yeah, an optimistic sticks for sure.
Okay, Spurs.
I think draw at best, but as at home, you never know. But I'm not holding much hope for the Spurs one. Draw. I'm going to say draw.
I'll go draw. I'll go take a point.
Okay. Right, and then we go to Palace.
For me, I'm look. Obviously, this is just prediction, but
yeah,
I'm going to Palace. Like I'm wanting to win. I'm wanting to win.
Yeah. Their new manager has turned it around a bit for them, but just looking at their last 3 fixtures, they've drawn 2 in the last. They've had a loss and they've drawn 2, so maybe he hasn't turned around that much. So
minimum draw. Minimum draw.
Yeah, minimum draw. But it all depends on how many more we're going to be missing, or do we have anyone back by then? Probably not.
Yeah,
Pope. Hopefully, Pope.
Yeah, Pope. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, Pope will be back. Yeah,
that's a massive plus. Getting him back, and then I don't know about you boys, but I'm going to win the next 2. We have to win those next 2.
Yeah, we do.
Sheffield United, Burnley. We've got to be winning those 2.
Yeah. Brighton also bogey team.
Say draw for Brighton.
Nah, I'm saying win.
You're saying win?
What, man? Brighton haven't last couple trips. Brighton haven't been great at St James's Park. I'm mate. At this point, we're then talking about Callum Wilson being back. We're then potentially talking Joe Linton being back in the frame. I'm going to win.
Do you think 3 back-to-back wins?
Yeah. Look, for me, like I feel confident in these set of fixtures. I'm thinking we're at St James's Park. We can go win that game. We can go and beat Brighton. I expect to beat Sheffield United. I expect to beat Burnley. I'm almost of the same confidence that I expect us to go and put Brighton to the sword. It won't be as easy as those other 2. It'll be a trickier game. They've got some good players. Yeah. But again, we're at home. I do. Like, if we can go and do what we did to West Ham, albeit, it was a last-minute winner, we can do the same to Brighton. West Ham are having a better season than Brighton.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too far away from me on the Brighton one yet. It's to see who we have and what we have available. But the Nick Pope is the kingpin there in coming into May. Into April, May, and see how we get on. We go to Brentford next.
Yeah, so we go a point.
We know we have the Man United somewhere as well.
Yeah, we've got the Man United one in there. Man United, obviously, I believe it's been changed to Wednesday night, but I don't know what date it is. I think he's been chased to Wednesday night. Like I say, that'll be in there in the mix somewhere along the lines. So that'll be a tough game because you just don't know what Man United to expect. But and I'll probably go a point Brentford, last game of the season.
It depends what's the play for both sides at that stage as well. You know, Brentford are in 15th currently. They've the last 5 they've had a draw, 2 losses, a draw, and another loss. So they're not in a great run.
Yeah.
Well, that Man United game's key as well, isn't it? I mean, if we set the draw for Brentford, that puts us on 18 points minus the Man United result. So it's 18 points without taking into account the Man United results. So 18 points. And I'm just going to quickly read out to you, because I've got them in front of me, what Man United's fixtures are. Obviously, you know, they've got us at Old Trafford. Man United have got Chelsea away. Then they've got Liverpool at home. Then they've got Bournemouth away, which has never been a good hunting ground for them, I don't think.
No.
Then they've got Sheffield United at home, so they should win that one.
We'll give them that one.
We'll give them that one. And then they've got Burnley at home, which is very similar to us. Sheffield United, then Burnley. Yeah, so they've got Burnley at home. So again, I think we have to give them that one. Crystal Palace away. So again, similar to us.
Same
as us.
Arsenal at home. That's the second to last game of the season. Arsenal could really, really need something there.
They've got a few tricky ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
not to mention us, yeah. And then last game, they've got Brighton away.
Oh, you're a fighter.
So it's whether or not Man United have got a 5-point swing on us at the moment, but it's whether or not Man United can pick up 18 points out of those games and match us. If they can match us, or pick up at least 13 points and not lose to us, they would still get 6th. But they've got some tricky fixtures in there.
It's a 6-pointer that our game against them at Old Trafford.
We win our next 2, boys. I'm with you. I think we're in the race.
Yeah.
It's above them.
Yeah.
And then you 3 more. I didn't realise those. We obviously did the Fight for Europe show, and we looked at the fixtures. I think, or did we? We might have not even looked at the.
Dan couldn't make it. Remember, he was in hospital. Yeah, he couldn't make it. We didn't go to Man United fixtures.
Yeah, we didn't. But actually, they've got some tricky fixtures there. You've just read out, Chris.
Yeah. Chelsea have the most favourable of all the fixtures we looked at that night.
Yeah.
Another thing is that Bruno didn't pick up a yellow card yesterday, so he's now 3 games away from escaping that ban. So
yeah, he's just got to get to game 32, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, regardless of whether he makes it or not, he's done superb to be lasted this long.
Yeah,
he really has. And to still be playing as well as he did, and we haven't really touched on it. I thought he was brilliant on Saturday.
He was.
I thought he was really, really good at times. He was doing a job on his own in that midfield. Like you talked about Longstaff, Daz. Like he just wasn't good. He really wasn't good. I think he got a little bit of support. I actually thought Willett wasn't good either. I really thought Willett was poor on Saturday.
And there was his 100th game as well. There he is, 100 appearances for Newcastle. Yeah, no, he was very poor. Did not turn up. There was a few times where there's a ball that there was like a 1-2 on or a through ball, and he didn't run. He didn't anticipate it, or wasn't in the game.
No.
Elliot Anderson, and I know we've already talked about him. When Elliot Anderson came on, he almost gave that little bit of support to Bruno. You can see them there together. He gave that little bit of, Bruno maybe didn't feel like he was doing it all on his own at times. I think he gave him that little bit of solidity, good on the ball, drive forward, as you can see on the picture. Yeah, I thought Bruno was really, really good. Fair play to him for still putting in really good performances, considering he's on that yellow card kind of tipping point.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, shall we go to a few questions, lads?
Yeah, we can do. Funnily enough, there was a question actually, which I can come to first because we've only just been talking about it at that moment. By the way, just before I do, Mark Taylor, become a member. Mark, thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Mark found the join button. Nice one.
Good man.
Arsenal fan as well.
I was going to
Arsenal
say,
fan.
Mark's an Arsenal fan, isn't he? So that's really nice of you, Mark. Thank you so much, mate. Really, really pleased that you enjoy the shows, mate. Very, very, very kind of you. Yano comes up with this one, and I want to get your boys' thoughts on it. And he says, guys, please discuss this. So since Gordon is getting a 1-game ban and then resumes on 8 yellows, if Bruno gets his 10th, should he make it a red, shirt off, kick the ball away?
That's a great shout.
It is, isn't it?
So what's Yano saying here? Because I'm a bit confused. I've got to be honest.
So like he's gonna, if he got another yellow card, he's gonna got an automatic 2-game ban. So
yeah,
he wants him to go and punch someone then, or take his shirt off, or kick the ball away, and get a 1-game ban for a red card instead.
Like Gordon, because a lot of fans have been saying, because Gordon got the 2 yellow cards and he got sent off. A lot of people think that he's now gone to 9 yellow cards, even though he's got the game ban. But actually, it now classes as a red card, so it doesn't count as a yellow card at all. So he goes back to the 8. He's got the red card, so he gets the match ban, but he goes back to 8 yellow cards. So what he's saying is because Bruno's 1 yellow card away, if he gets the yellow card, it'll be like, oh, he gets 2-game ban. But if he kicks the ball away and gets a 2nd yellow card, he'll get 1-game ban, but he won't get the 2-game ban because it's straight red, but not straight red. It's a red card.
It's a red card, so he misses 1 game. Yeah, it's a great shout, Yano.
He misses 1 game, but he's still. Like he'll only miss the 1. He won't be banned for the 2. So
and he'll be back on 9 yellow cards again.
He'll be back on 9 yellow cards, but obviously because we're getting closer, he'll be literally.
I'll get this anyway.
You might then miss the 2-game ban because it's the 32-game point in which after that it doesn't count. You can get as many as you want after that, and it doesn't matter. So it's a smart move.
It is. You know what that's straight out of? Yano has been reading the Mad Dog playbook. That would be in there if that was the situation was to happen. I bet you. So let's keep an eye out for that. Hopefully, he doesn't get the other card.
Playbook. I was going to say the Mourinho playbook because that's a Mourinho move. That is for sure. But
that's interesting.
He's always has his eye on. If he gets to sniff it off, he always has a look out.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, it's a really good shout, that Yano.
Mags.
Yeah.
It took you long enough, Yano, to come up with something good, though. Like Wilson was 2 years 2 years ahead of its time, but fair play, Yano, was a good point. Nice one.
Great comment, Yano. Now we're going to levy you for it, but great comment. But no, it is a really, really good one. Alan Thompson has a really good one as well. He says, lads, do you think that is Lascelles' last game for Newcastle, as he's only got 1 year left after this season?
Oh, like he'd be sold. Would they extend the contract to sell him?
I don't think it'll be his last game. Like, I personally don't see him playing until close to 2025. Him and Botman, I don't see coming back until sort of like December, January at the earliest. Personally, with their injuries, I still think Lascelles will have some football to play. I think he'll still get a game between now and the end of the season, but maybe not as many as probably has done recently, because him and Botman will be coming back, hopefully, to 2 new centre-backs. So therefore, it's going to be a lot harder for him to get into the team. I don't think he'll be sold, but I don't think he'll get a renewal either. So I think 2025 will be his last season for Newcastle United.
He'll probably make a couple of appearances only before the end of the 24-25 season, and then he'll probably get a swan song towards the end, to thank him for his time and stuff like that. But we certainly won't see a lot of him, Alan. We do. He's
going to be the dumbest next season.
And will that be 10 years next season?
He won't be far off it, surely.
So it could well be a testimonial year.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be 10 years.
Yeah. No, it's a good shout. Let me see. Talking of centre backs, Ian CR65. Think we'll definitely sign Lloyd Kelly on a free this summer. Now, I thought I'd saved the comments, but it looks like I haven't. I'm pretty sure it was Jimmy Watt, and he was saying that he feels that Lloyd Kelly could be that, that signing that we all talk about all summer, and then it doesn't happen. I mean, do you boys feel that way? I mean, it looks like Lloyd Kelly. It's probably like the best kept secret, isn't it? That Eddie Howe rates Lloyd Kelly. We've looked at Lloyd Kelly previously. He's on a free. It now looks like we need 2 centre backs. So surely it makes sense to just bring this kid in on a free. You would think.
Yeah. Surely he would go somewhere like 1st of July. He's at a new club kind of thing. What's the point in dragging it out?
Yeah, he can agree a deal with a club before he even signs on the 1st of July. So he can agree to sign to a club, but it just doesn't come into fruition until July the 1st. Like for me, with the apparent Newcastle United financial situation and all the rest of it that keeps being bandied about, it makes perfect sense for Newcastle to go and get a free transfer or two to save on the transfer fee, but get a good player in. There's question marks about Lloyd Kelly's injury record, and understandably, but as a player, Lloyd Kelly is an upgrade of what we've already got. There's no doubt about it. And getting him in as a free, who can play left back and centre back, it just makes perfect sense. Another player that I had thought about, because we've talked about him before and loaded so many times. Another player that would be a great option as well is Tosin Adarabioyo at Fulham, who is also on a free transfer, who is a very good centre-back as well, who has not played as much minutes at Fulham as what he probably should have this season because of that contract battle. There's 2 players, defensive reinforcements that you can bring in that don't cost anything. Of course, you have to pay them a bit more wages or sign-on fees or whatever, but certainly not in terms of transfer fee, that you can bring 2 players in that instantly make this team, this squad better. And so for me, if they're not looking at these 2 types of signings, and there's probably more out there, then I don't think they're doing the job properly. So I think they would be players that they're definitely looking at, and players that have got Premier League experience, that have been in the Premier League and done well in the Premier League, kind of makes sense. Whether they get them or not is another thing, because of course other teams are going to be looking at them for sure. But for me, if I'm Newcastle United, I'm paying them a little bit more to say, come and play for us. And as well as that, we've got to remember, with our defensive situation, they're probably going to be guaranteed more minutes at Newcastle United than that they would be maybe at another club. So they might go to they might be attracted by a Villa or a Tottenham or whoever who want them, but might not be guaranteed regular football. Whereas at Newcastle United, there's a high chance that they could be coming in and going, there's a chance you could be starting every week. So there's that, and they're still coming to a great club, a big club in Newcastle, but playing every week. That then is the kicker. Lloyd Kelly was signed under Eddie Howe. Makes perfect sense. Like there's all of this kind of fits together that does fit in and just make it make sense. So hopefully Newcastle United are acting quickly to get these kind of deals done.
Yeah, Lloyd Kelly is the missing jigsaw piece for that one. Like it's a no-brainer that the whole Eddie Howe link and Jason Tindall and so on. So he knows exactly what he'd be going into. So
yeah,
definitely.
Talking to Jimmy Watt. Jimmy asks, apparently it's not on April Fool's, but reports came up today that Eddie's thinking about giving Dummett a new contract. Sorry, but we'll not evolve as a club if we keep giving Deadwood new contracts. Are you boys both on that same page? Do you think Eddie's even considering giving Dummett another year contract, or do you think this is a wind-up?
This is a wind-up. Has to be. Dummett and Richie have to be gone this summer at a minimum. There's a long list of more that we have from squad game, but come on, Jesus, what are we at if we keep holding on to Dummett? No hassle to keep them in part of the backroom team, but not a squad position. No.
That came, those links came up before 12 p.m. today. That's April Fool's all day long. There is no way that is a serious conversation. Nah, not having it. Dummett, for as much as he's done at the club, has to go.
I mean, David Tofield was on it as well. Dummett will get an extra year, so we only have to get one centre back this summer and not two. Need the budget spent elsewhere. Now, surely, I think even if we were to keep Dummett, we still need two centre backs. And I don't believe we will keep Paul Dummett. I think we do need two centre backs, because if you think we're not going to have Jamal Lascelles, we're not going to have Sven Botman, and that leaves us essentially with Dan Burn, Fabian Schär, and Emil Kraft, who could play centre back, but you don't really want him to. Paul Dummett, who could play centre back, but you don't really want him to. I think we need two centre backs. No two ways about it. Now that brings me nicely onto Peter Smart. Now, Peter, we won't go into it in vast detail because we have done a squad game show recently. And if you haven't watched it, make sure you have a look for it and give it a watch, because we did go into it in quite a lot of detail. But boys, I'm going to ask you just this simple one number question. How many positions do we need to fill in this summer's transfer window?
I think we said 5 or 6. But whether we get 5 or 6 is the question. But that's what we said.
You still feel the same way as after Lascelles' injury as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think we need 5 or 6.
Still 5, 6. Yeah, Pete.
Yeah. And that includes some of the free, like the Lloyd Kelly, for example, and whoever else we can find in the world that might be on a cheaper deal or an unearthed gem somewhere for a relatively cheap enough deal. So as well as some big signings.
Of course. Pete, you the same figure, 5 or 6?
Yeah, I've said to you boys a few times now. I was always expecting 5 players to come in, three of significant quality in terms of money spent, but 5 players coming in. Wouldn't be surprised if it's extended to 6. Not that we pay big fees for all 6 of them, maybe 2 or 3. Maybe 2 or 3 of kind of like cheap signings. Those that maybe have a year left on their contract, or a couple that are free. We've just talked about a couple there, and then 2 or 3 of real, like, kind of where we're going to be spending significantly. And the reason being is because we are getting players that are moving out the squad. We've got even the likes of like Hendrick, for example, who's going on a free, Dummett, Richie, or like some of these players that are moving out. We've got a number of spaces left to be filled in the squad. So I do expect players to come in for sure. And I think like these injuries are only heightening that. And we've not even talked about the fact that Callum Wilson could go, Miguel Almiron could go. Like, so there's going to be even more spaces available. And there's all this talk about money and all the rest of it. Someone just put in the chat further up. I can't see it now. But there was talk about, I think it was Ian McKenna, the new sponsorship start in the summer, plus the Champions League money and the usuals. All that stuff does kick in the summer. So people saying, oh, we haven't got much money and whatever. It is very much a journalistic spin that the club's putting on. We will have money to spend in the summer. I'm not saying we're going to have 600-700 million, but we will have money to spend.
We will.
So I do think that we will be we will be bringing players in. It's going to be an exciting summer.
Yeah, and let's not forget as well, we do have some saleable assets. You know, we've spoken about Callum Wilson, we've spoken about Miggy Almiron, and we do believe, I think we've said, haven't we, that, you know, there could be the odd 1 or 2 surprise, you know, and I'll throw names out here just off the top of my head, but, you know, like a Matty Target, like a Joe Willock, like a Sean Longstaff, who knows? You know, if decent money gets put on the table, there's no reason to suggest that, you know, we don't kind of move certain players on who we weren't expecting to, in order to mean that we could go out and maybe buy 1 or 2 big players. No reason why not. But if you haven't watched squad games, make sure you give it a watch back. We did it. Was it about a week and a half ago, Daz? Something like that.
Yeah, about a week and a half ago. Yeah.
Really good show.
Who we won't be getting rid of is Isak. He's going nowhere.
Yeah.
Joe Linton, we're going to give him a contract, and Bruno, he has to stay as well.
Potts is convinced that Arsenal are coming for him in the summer. Like just before they were putting in the chat, apparently it was like confirmed by Craig Hope that Arsenal are interested in, or that Isak is interested in Arsenal, but they'd forgot that they hadn't seen that the articles that have come out from Luke Edwards and Craig Hope today that are saying Eddie Howe is saying Isak's not leaving. And the point that I made on that is that His contract's until 2028. On top of that, they broke their bank to sign Declan Rice in the summer. Like, can they afford to do that again with a player that hasn't got a clause in his contract that for a club that doesn't need to sell him? You talk like, and to be fair, they eventually agreed on it. Like, you're looking at, just for example, LB valued Alexander Isak at 120 million.
That's roughly what he is, Pete. That's roughly what he is.
And he said that's minimum.
Yeah.
Which is what we've said. Alexander Isak, for me, you don't even start a conversation unless 120 million's on the table. For me, and I know you boys have said it similar. We talked about it in the squad game. You're talking Osimhen money. If they're putting 130 million on Osimhen, you're putting 130 million on
rejected.
Isak. But because what strikers are out there that can do what Isak does for a reasonable fee?
There isn't more.
18 goals this season. 18 goals in all competitions. Season's not even out yet. Like,
yeah.
He ain't moving. He ain't going anywhere.
He's going nowhere.
Definitely. There's a couple more things that I wanted to bring up, and one of them we're gonna come to at the end. Toon Game has come up with an interesting one here, and it's one of you boys must have just started this. It only must have just come in. What's your guys' take on Maldini links for director of football? Now, interestingly, I saw this break before. Jason Wilcox is about to leave his position at Southampton, apparently to take up the director of football position at Old Trafford, which I found interesting. Does that have any impact on Dan Ashworth? I mean, well, firstly, what are your boys' links on Paolo Maldini? And also, you know, what are you feeling now about Dan Ashworth? Will Dan Ashworth be panicking a little bit, thinking Man United aren't going to come and save him?
No, I thought that Wilcox one was already in the mix. He's part of that shuffle that they're trying to do.
Is he part of it?
He's part of it. Whatever structure they're trying to build, I thought he was going to be part of it. As far as I from going back a couple of weeks ago, that's what I thought was happening. And on Maldini, absolutely loved him as a player. He was in the loaded 11 when we put that together many moons ago. But it didn't work out with him as a manager. I don't know what would be like as a director of football. So he's probably a bit of an unknown. And that's unless he's doing a job like that today. I don't know what he did after Milan.
He was director of football at Milan.
I thought he was manager.
No, he was director of football.
Oh,
yeah, and then he left. Yeah, he left. Was it shortly after Tonali or shortly before Tonali, Pete?
No. It was. It was just before Tonali was signed, and Tonali was a big reason for it because he didn't want him to leave.
Yeah, that's right.
Lisa's made a good point, and we talked about it the previous summer. Is that he wanted Botman, and Botman ended up at Newcastle United.
That's where
for me personally, am I surprised that Newcastle United have apparently talked to Maldini? Not at all, because Maldini was highly regarded at AC Milan, highly regarded. Obviously, he's a legend there, but highly regarded as a director of football there for what he did. He had a certain philosophy that he wanted to bring in a certain caliber and quality of player, and the reason why he stepped away is because the finances and the ability to bring these sorts of players that he wanted in wasn't possible. Now, I think I tweeted out when the initial link with Maldini came about is that he would bring a massive pull factor because he is a world great across the whole world. Like, he could go out and just on his own be a pull factor to come and play for Newcastle United for sure. There's no doubt about it. He is an absolute legend of the game. Like, if you want to go and attract a top defender to your club, Maldini's the guy to go and convince him.
Go and have a word. Yeah.
He's one of the best defenders ever to play the game. There's no doubt about it. So there's that pull or the rest of it as well. But it's whether it fits right. It's whether it fits right with the club. For me, Like, and this is just from the names mentioned. Like a Paul Mitchell just fits right with the work that he's done at the likes of Monaco, and I think he's done it. He did some good work at Tottenham as well, before he left there, and he's done some good work around various different clubs where he's done some stuff in England as well. Like I say, with Tottenham and a couple of other places where I just think he would be maybe a better fit, and he is considered the front runner. From the reports that we're seeing, he is considered the front runner.
Yeah.
Who's going to be that guy? No idea. I trust the right guy.
It'd be kind of cruel to Dan Lawless to put this lad in the mix again, but no, we won't go there.
Imagine the fallout from that.
But before all that, pay up. Show us the money, Man United.
The Wilcox thing doesn't make a difference to Newcastle United. They still want Ashworth. They're doing what Liverpool are doing. So Liverpool are getting Richard Hughes. They've got Edwards back in. There's a recruitment team. There's a team of people that these top clubs are looking at doing. Liverpool have done the same there. I think there's another person that Liverpool are looking at recruiting alongside Hughes and Edwards as well. Man United are doing the same. They want Ashworth. They've got Barada already. They want Ashworth. They want Wilcox. They want, I believe, the link with somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head. They're looking at building a team of people for their kind of behind the scenes work. Newcastle United are probably going to need to do the same. Although they've got Steve Nixon, they've got Andy Howe, I believe his name is Eddie's relation to Eddie, his brother, I think it is, and they'll bring in a director of football or sporting director. We're looking at building our own team, but we've already got a few people that are here that they're looking at building that team around. It's just part and parcel. But like you said a second ago, they need to pay up. They don't come cheap.
Exactly. Shout out to Jordy Josh in the chat as well. I see Stu Amos as well, who we met as well. I met a whole lot of people while we were over there in Newcastle. Jordy Josh, can he little player as well? Decent little player, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
We'll see you back again next year, Josh. Don't get injured. Anyway.
Yeah.
Where are we going next, Chris? So is there more questions?
We've got a few more questions, and one of them we're going to have to ask because about 4 people have asked the same question. So we're going to have to go to it. But Lisa says to me, "Where are you watching the game tomorrow? Your house will be tense." It will, Lisa. It will be tense tomorrow. So I will be watching it at home with me lad Callum and Lisa, my wife, who are both Evertonians. So I'm hoping I'll be screaming the house down. And I think we said, didn't we, boys? Depending on the result, we might be doing the match reaction late on. So I don't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, you're in charge, Chris.
Yeah.
You're in charge.
So
you choose.
That was when. What pub were we in? It was the one that Liam took us to, Liam Kennedy, when we went into that pub. And Lisa was giving it all that, saying that we were going to lose. And she was like, "I'll do match reaction after the show." And then I said, "Oh, you're going to moan because I'm on late." And she was like, no. She said, you know, you do the show if you want. So we'll have to see how the result goes, boys. We'll have to see how the result goes. But yeah, I'll be watching the game at home, and fingers crossed we see a win. And leading us nicely into the game tomorrow, Richo65, our resident Everton fan, says Everton released 22-23 accounts on Not Good News. Another loss of 89.1 million. 6 points deduction incoming. So yeah, so it's not looking good. Not looking good on the blue side of Merseyside, but yeah. And moving on into the match tomorrow. So Tom Dixon says, "What would your team be for tomorrow night?" Mike Gent says, "Question, lads, what's your team for tomorrow night?" And Tom Dixon also says, "Who would you play tomorrow with Gordon suspended?" So a few questions on what our team would be tomorrow night. And I also wanted to touch as well, boys, on the performance of Elliot Anderson and Lewis Hall when they came on the game at West Ham, because I thought both players were absolutely outstanding, particularly Lewis Hall for me. He just looked like a breath of fresh air on that left-hand side, and he's not played much football this season. So I wanted to get your thoughts very quickly before we move into a potential starting 11. What were your thoughts on Anderson and Hall on Saturday, Daz?
Well, I gave my team already. I can repeat it again in a second, but I thought Lewis Hall was exceptional. And we bumped into Newcastle Fans TV, and Johnny asked the question, "Who's your man of the match?" First thing I said was Lewis Hall. Then I thought maybe give it to Gordon, but Lewis Hall, to me, he just turned things. He was just that attacking impetus down the left, what we've missed. We're used to it on the right, but on the left, he was something special, and he has to play. Like with so many injuries, he's got no choice. Now is the time for Lewis Hall. And on Eddie Lanston, I would take Longstaff out and bring in Sean Longstaff. And I wouldn't be afraid if let's say Sean Longstaff does play, which he probably will, I don't know anyhow. I wouldn't be afraid to mid-match take out Willock if he's still not playing well, and bring in Anderson, because Anderson changed the game as well. Both of them were game changers, as well as Barnes. The other day.
What about you, Pete?
If I'm going with my team, Dubravka in goal. Not that we have another choice. Trippier right back. I do believe Trippier will be back in for this game. Trippier right back. Shaw and Byrne. I'm going Hall left back. I thought Hall was sensational when he came on. Midfield, this is probably what I think it would be rather than what I would choose it to be. Bruno, Willock, Longstaff, and then front three. I'm going Isak, Murphy, and Anderson on the left. That's what I'm going for.
Oh, not Barnes.
That's what. No. I think it told me a lot about the fact that Miguel Almiron came on first before Barnes did. I think that they were worried about his fitness levels and being able to play, and I think he was almost kind of thrown into the game. I actually don't think he'll start. I think they'll go with Anderson in that front three, and then bring Barnes on almost to be a player to really kind of give and ask some questions later on in the game. That's what I think they'll go for, personally. I'd be happy if Barnes started, because if he's ready to start, great. But I just think the fact that they brought on Almiron first means, for me, that they don't think he was ready to start games or even come on as the first sub. So that's why I think they'll probably give him a bench role again.
Just before we wrap up, couple of questions, but they kind of link into what you and Daz have just said, Pete. In that Cumbrian Mag says, as he got away with one at the weekends, poor choice of substitutions initially. Had it not been for the injuries, would we have seen the introduction of the fee players who transformed the game from us? And I think that's a really fair comment there from Cumbrian Mag. Daz, do you think that Eddie Howe, we would have seen Lewis Hall come on the pitch, and do you think we would have seen Harvey Barnes come on the pitch necessarily had the other players that came on broken down? And obviously we saw that he took Emil Kraft off, and it didn't look like an injury. It looked more like a tactical move. Do you think that was Eddie Howe navigating the circumstances as they unfolded, or do you think that was Eddie Howe going, actually this doesn't work, talking particularly about Emil Kraft? Do you think, what I'm asking you is, do you think Eddie Howe got away with one at the weekend?
I think he did, in fairness. I think he would have still made the Kraft substitution because just to bring Hall on to try to change it up a bit and go more attacking. But I don't think we would have seen Barnes till later in the game. So it is lucky the way it played out. That Miggy went off, and I'm not going to say it's lucky that Tino got injured, because it wasn't. You always want Tino to be on the pitch, but just the way it panned out was very lucky. But you have to take that look sometimes, and let's hope it springboards us forward. But yeah, we've had no luck in terms of injuries. So we got the injuries, but the subs made the massive difference for once.
Yeah, and Pete, just
it's a great point by Cumbrian Mag.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was. Just a slightly different question for you, Pete, but kind of ties in. John Mitchinson says, even though Newcastle are going to investigate these injuries with the injury crisis, do you think they'll make it public with the outcome? So one, do you think that they would necessarily make it public, or maybe John's referring to the fact that there might be some calls, they might just change the backroom staff and certain people from the backroom staff will leave. But my added little question to this was going to be, do you think there's any possibility that we see Emil Kraft or potentially Jacob Murphy starting at right back should Trippier not be fit for tomorrow night? Or who would you pick out of those two?
It looked like Kraft had an injury. So it could well be that he's out as well. We don't know. And we don't know how serious the Tino rolled with the ankle. It didn't look nice on watching it back. When the ball hit him, and we've seen that happen before, and there'll be ankle breaks. I always remember the Alan Smith one. When he played for Man U against Liverpool, can be horrible. But look, if I'm choosing between Kraft and Murphy, I'm going Kraft because he knows how to play right back. That's just a simple choice. But actually, I thought Murphy played really well, and actually, what was interesting about that is that we properly went for it. So we almost had Hall and Murphy playing wing back, and we almost kind of went for it and just had Burn and Shaw defending as a two wing backs and just went for it. Now, that's all well and good when you're chasing the game, but actually in game it's probably not ideal. So you want a right back option. But I do think Trippier will be back. What I will say is that Eddie Howe was forced into these changes. He didn't make them off his own back. He made them, and fine, they worked, but he didn't make them off his own back. He was forced into these changes. And I think had there not been injuries, these players wouldn't have come onto the pitch. And for me, more than anything, I'm just glad that these players grabbed the opportunity by the neck and went, I want to be in this team. I want to be fighting for this team. Elliot Anderson, Lewis Hall in particular, I thought were superb. And obviously, of course, the match winner, Harvey Barnes. But yeah, I think I'd probably go Kraft if he's fit, just because he's a right back. He didn't play great against West Ham, but I'm not going to necessarily hold that against him. But I'd be looking at playing Murphy further forward. I actually didn't think in the first half Murphy played too bad. He kind of dropped off in the second half, and then when he went to right back, he was better.
He was,
but I'd want Murphy playing further forward because he's so direct. He runs at players, he commits players, and it goes back to a point that I mentioned to you boys. Oh, did I mention to you boys? And when we were at the Bridge Tavern, it might have been to Liam Kennedy actually. That I actually think that Eddie Howe is trying to transition Miguel Almiron out of the team. So I don't expect Miguel Almiron, although he might be injured right now, to play it or to start a lot of games. I think he wants him gone in the summer. So for me, I think if he is 3 or 4 weeks, it just that fits into the narrative perfectly. But even if he was fit, I think that Murphy would be starting games, not because he necessarily deserves it or he's playing well, but it's more of transitioning Miggy out because I think they want him sold in the summer. But that's just my opinion.
I mean, I'm excited. I'll be honest. I'm excited to see Lewis Hall start tomorrow. I really, really hope he does start tomorrow. And given the defensive frailties we've got, particularly at centre back, I think Lewis Hall should start tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, there will be some major question marks being asked if he's not in that starting 11, given the amount of injuries we've got. Surely he's got to start Lewis Hall tomorrow, and I think it's up to him to grab the opportunity with both hands and up against a very aging right back berth at Everton. It's either going to be Ashley Young, it could be Seamus Coleman. I don't think Lewis Hall would be worried about that in any way, shape, or form. So I think it's a great opportunity for him, and he could really do some damage at St James's Park tomorrow night. So I hope Lewis Hall starts tomorrow night. That's my big hope.
If Tino's fit, Tino starts though.
Do you think Tino starts right back though, Pete?
Not if Trippier's in. I think we'll go Trippier and Tino.
Yeah, true.
That'd be the only thing that changes it. I think if Tino's not fit, and obviously, of course, Trippier, but I personally, I just think I've got no reason to believe. I've got no evidence. I just think they held Trippier back to be able to play Tuesday. I just think he'll be playing. And for me, I think if Tino's fit, it will go Trippier, Tino, and bring Lewis Hall off the bench. But if Tino's not fit, then Hall starts. Has to.
Yeah. I heard that now that Rafa is sacked from Celta Vigo as well, that Miggy's on the blower to Manquillo to try and get him to move to Saudi so he can say, what do they say? But that's another story. We won't go there. Chris, next question.
That's it, mate. Well done for questions. We are all done.
Nice one.
Someone said
Right.
Callum Wilson back in training, apparently.
Yeah, see, I've just seen that. Peter Smart said that. Yeah, Callum Wilson back in training. That's interesting if true.
I heard he'd been doing running, but obviously running and actually physically being involved with his pep is two different things. But hey, if he's back early,
Brilliant.
I think it was meant to be 9 to 12 weeks, apparently, like the injury, but I don't know how long it's been since the Forest game. Whether it's been close to that, I've no idea.
Right, let's give one last shout out to the game, the charity game as well, and to all the lads and everyone that turned up on the day to watch us, and great chatting to everyone who came to watch the game as well. Everyone that tagged out for us, and of course the Newcastle Fans TV lads as well, and some great donations as well towards the Alan Shearer Foundation. And it's still available actually, and the link is in the description of the YouTube video as well to still donate there. But great bunch of lads and a great chat afterwards in the pub, and the next day at the game as well. We bumped into them. But Johnny, that trophy will be coming back to us next season. Don't you worry about that. But congratulations to the lads. Just last thing to shout out, we could shout out to our sponsors. And yes, we got to meet Russ. We met Russ on was it Saturday night as well. We went for an Indian together, and Lisa and Jordan and Liam Kennedy joined us as well, and Russ and his two mates, Andy and Danny as well. But great to meet Russ. And if you need any of those radiators, you know where to go and look. TheRadiatorShed.com for all your radiator needs. And also a quick shout out as well to H2O Bathroom Design Co. for all your bathroom related needs. In the form of all the bathroom wear. That is it, lads. We'll be back sometime soon, potentially tomorrow. Chris celebrating an Everton win. You never know. Could be a late one. I think it's it's booked in the system, but we can change that. Don't worry about that. Shall we leave it there?
Can we play out with the Isak?
We can. The one
I just
with the spelling mistake. Of course we can. And I can't change it because I can't find the video to edit it. Right. Good night, everyone. This is the Isak. See you soon.